Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here, Golden Opportunities Coaching. Haven't been with you for a while for new content, been about a week and a half or so. That's because 4 months into my recovery process, I had some medical setbacks just a little bit. Nothing major, but enough that it slowed down my schedule and kept me out of alignment for a little bit. So that meant that my time had to be diverted a little bit. But in time for June, in time for the summer, we are going to have new stuff, and I think I found a way to make that work in my daily schedule or close to it. Anyway, if you're new here, like, subscribe, comment below. We try to bring life coaching related topics into sustainable and simple language for you. We try to do that as often as we can with multiple videos, most days, audios actually, most days. And anyway, today we're going to talk about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or so things that motivate a narcissist. I think most of us have dealt with a person with a narcissistic, easy for me to say, personality. These are individuals who just make things all about them. So what are some things that motivate them? What brings that about? Being raised by two narcissistic individuals, I can honestly say I feel really qualified to work with this, especially when you consider that I've spent 23 years studying this type of question, so a long time, and we're going to go through that a little bit. So one of the things that motivates a narcissist really simply and quite easily in simplest form is attention. They need it, they crave it, they want it, and they will do anything, positive, negative, or indifferent, to get it. The thing is, their ego needs the attention because without it, they feel like they're not alive. Think of it like taking a hit off a drug, or taking a hit off a cigarette, or taking that drink. Even like for somebody that doesn't have an addictive personality, ever take a swig of soda or a swig of an energy drink and feel that pump, or maybe a cup of coffee and feel that pump? Well, emotionally speaking, that's what a narcissist is looking for. They're looking for that feeling of somebody's paying attention to me. I feel better now. I feel better now. And they will do whatever it takes to get there. They will lie. They will cheat. They will steal. They will create false tears. They will do whatever it takes. Now, here's a scary thing. 1 in 6 people, according to some research, have the tendency to become narcissistic. Usually that tendency exists in a person who comes from a bloodline where it already has happened, with at least one family member in at least in a generation, sometimes many more than one in a generation. But usually it's unlocked through trauma. So if you're dealing with a person that's been through a lot of trauma, you are more likely that they have at least some narcissistic tendency, if not a personality disorder related to narcissism. That's just something to think about. Number 2, they lie. They lie a lot, and they lie about everything. Here's the thing. In order to get attention, they have to come up with stories. In order to get attention, they have to come up with stories that are compelling. What's one way to always have a good, compelling story? Well, that's to lie. And sometimes what generally happens is the lies start small. They see what you buy. Once they've figured out that they can sell you whatever it is that they want to, or the narrative that they want to, they'll continue to lie bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, until eventually you have no idea what's true, no idea what's a lie. All you know is you're drained from dealing with them. Now, generally speaking, they hate when you challenge their lies. Even if you were in the room for an incident, or you were on the phone for a conversation, or you had a conversation with them, they will twist it and gaslight you into believing that what you believe to be true, that you witnessed, that you experienced, isn't true. Now, control. This is the motivating factor for all narcissists. Because they feel out of control within their own life, they will create situations where they can regain control, whether that's through making you feel guilty, making you second guess yourself, making themselves look weak or as a victim, making themselves look like they need help even if they don't. The idea is they want to be able to manipulate things in a direction that gets them to feel like they know what you're going to do, what you're going to say, how you're going to act. The more a narcissist knows what's going to happen next, the more they have leverage over the situation, which ultimately will lead them to feel like, hey, I finally got control over something in my life. Let me keep this person around as long as they're useful, and that's going to come up in actually our last point. But as long as they're useful, let me keep them around and let me keep as much control over them as I possibly can. Once I do that, then I've solved them. Now, the problem for a narcissist is once they've solved you, kind of think of it like a puzzle or a Rubik's Cube. Once they solved you, they lose all interest in you as a person. And so they only access you, think like a kid with a toy on a shelf. They only access you when there's a benefit to that access. When they need something, when they need a pump, when they need a bump in energy, when they need attention, whatever it is, they'll access you and then they'll put you back again. This can be maddening because you think you're deepening your relationship with the narcissist. You think you're beginning to understand them. But the reality is you're only understanding the part of them that they want you to see and or the part of them that they're presenting, whether it's true or not. You're not understanding them because to understand the narcissist completely, you have to accept two things. Number one, all they care about is attention and focus being on them. Number two, they will do anything, say anything, or be anything in order to get that. And really, you in yourself are expendable because there's 7 billion people on the planet. Somebody will give them what they want. So what do they need you for? Now, guilt, there's the other one. Once they figure out what your trigger points are, once they figure out what makes you uncomfortable, they will use that like they are using a punch card at a casino. They will go to town motivating you through guilt, through self-doubt, through negativity. Why? Because if you feel negative, you're going to want to change. The change they will set up to please them. In other words, to benefit them. And so if you change to please them when they use guilt or negative reinforcement, what are they going to do? They're going to use it to get what they want. The idea is they exploit your weaknesses knowingly, think they are intellectually superior for doing so, and have no empathy towards caring one way or the other how it affects you whatsoever. Now, the second to last one is they look for fights. This is actually built in the childhood mentality of many narcissists. Usually, what happens that causes a narcissistic injury of any sort is this person was exposed to times repeatedly where they felt like they didn't matter at all, like no one would fight for them. So what happens with a narcissist, especially as an adult or a late teenager, is they will pick fights just because, just to see if you think they're worth fighting over or about or for. Once they've established that you will, they feel better, at least for the moment. Think like taking Tylenol or a painkiller for your pain. However, hours later, days later, weeks later, they're going to feel that same nag again that they're not worth fighting for, that they don't matter, and they're going to pick fights with you. Now, then once they know what your topics are, man, they'll come back with guns ablazing towards those topics because they've figured out an easy way to get a rise out of you is ABC. And if I use ABC and they fight for me, then I still matter. So one way to test if I still matter to this person is to gaslight them with this thing over here. The last one that I'm going to use for this audio is the following. Steady streams of people coming in and out of their lives because who you are doesn't matter. At the end of the day, the narcissist cares about what they can get, how they can gain, how they can get ahead. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter if it's family, friend, romantic partner, business partner, person on the street. So, ultimately, they are going to have kind of a revolving door of people in and out and in and out. Now, they'll return to the person that's most, quote, loyal, in their mind most weak, in order to get that bump whenever they need it, like a drug. But they're always going to have a supply of individuals coming into their life who are convinced that they're a good person and they've just had a person basically that buys their victim mentality. This is because if someone is foolish enough in their mind, smart enough in a rational person's mind to disappear, they know they need another person to fill that void. If they're lining up people while you're still there, they have less likelihood of being emotionally uncomfortable themselves, so therefore it's worth it to them. In any event, if you're dealing with someone who is a narcissist, if you have narcissistic parents or friends or partners, and you're feeling overwhelmed, I do one-on-one coaching with people for this particular disorder, among others. So if you feel that that would benefit you, please feel free to reach out. There's a couple ways to do that. You can do so through Twitter at PO Perception, or you can do so right here in the mailbox on YouTube. Usually I can get back to people within 1 to 2 days. But in any event, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Till next time, everybody.